In this video, I want to talk about imposter syndrome because this is one of these things that you can really sabotage yourself with it, but once you understand it, you can actually use it to your advantage to some extent. By the way, if you're new here, my name's Alexa. I have a PhD in psychology. I talk about all sorts of things, psychology and neuroscience. What I love to do is to work with people who are under pressure in their careers. I work with actors a lot, but also anybody else who's under pressure and needs really quick and easy tools that they can implement and that work really fast. So let's get on to imposter syndrome. So, what is imposter syndrome? I'm sure you've experienced it. It is this feeling that you're a fraud, right? That you're sort of that you're not prepared for whatever opportunity is in front of you, or that you are sort of taking up somebody else's space, maybe. Actors sometimes can feel that if they feel that actually they don't deserve the part they've just been cast in, it's too good of an opportunity occasionally. And sometimes actors have been working for years and years and years towards something, and then when they get something good, they feel like they don't deserve it. So that's imposter syndrome. And isn't it interesting with everybody who experiences imposter syndrome that it always shows up when something good happens to you, right? It always shows up when you've experienced some success. So let me explain, first of all, why it happens and then what to do about it. Well, so why does it happen? So if you think about neurochemistry, because I love to talk about neurochemistry because it gives you such a good insight into what is happening for you emotionally. It allows you to understand what is going on. So what happens when we experience success is that we feel in some way chosen, right? We feel in some way superior. And I don't mean that in a kind of being a bad person kind of way. I mean that in a, you feel elevated, right? When you have success. This triggers something called serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter, and it's one of these happy chemicals. It makes you feel really good in that moment. The problem is that you don't feel good for long because the point of serotonin is that it works like a reward system that your brain gives so that you work really hard towards your goals. But then once you reach a moment of success, a moment of real achievement, you get this big boost, which is amazing, and then it drops off. And the reason it drops off is because your brain does not want you to sleep on your laurels. Your brain wants you to keep wanting to climb higher and higher in the social hierarchy. Because serotonin is all about our status. It's all about how we are in relation to others. And when you have a moment of success, you feel above. So, because of this sudden drop in serotonin after you felt so good, what tends to happen is you get cortisol going up. Cortisol is the stress hormone, which feels horrible. And the bigger the success, the more cortisol you get afterwards, which means that pretty much right after you've had this big euphoric feeling of everything's right in the world, you then start feeling really horrible. So, what happens when serotonin kicks in and the stress hormone? You start getting this feeling something's wrong, something's not right. And that is when imposter syndrome kicks in. Imposter syndrome triggers what we have as humans called the negativity bias. And the negativity bias is where we focus on threats in our environment. Am I going to lose this opportunity? This is too good to be true, right? You get that feeling. And the problem is the negativity bias is four times, it directs your attention four times more towards what could go wrong than what could go right. So you can see you have a really distorted perception in that moment. And that perception is fueled by the neurochemical imbalance that suddenly happened for you, right? And so that's imposter syndrome, which is why it feels so horrendous. And it also feels so illogical because nobody else can understand it because it's not objective. It's a subjective feeling. So what do you do about it? Well, I want to give you two tools that you can use straight away. One of them is your unique selling points. So find 3 or 5 things that are really unique to you, that are like, it could be you have a really welcoming smile, or you have a really reassuring presence, or you're really charming, or you're super intelligent, or whatever it is that's really unique and that either people have complimented you on or you know in yourself that you have these qualities, something like that. Have this list handy, and whenever you feel imposter syndrome, look at this list. Because that will give you a feeling of, actually, I'm irreplaceable. There might be other people who could be doing this job, but not like me, right? So there's that USP kind of thing. The other thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to have a list of 10 memories, your greatest hits, I call this, 10 memories that make you feel really proud of yourself. So think about moments in your childhood, in your teenage years, whenever those moments occurred, and really relive those moments. Really enjoy them and make a list of them. And whenever you feel imposter syndrome, look at that list. The reason why these tools are so helpful is because they counteract the effect of the negativity bias. I told you there's this ratio of 4 to 1. Well, we want to redress that ratio and get it more even. And so that's where these tools come in really handy. I've also prepared a free workbook that you can download that's got lots more tools you can use in these situations and other situations that trigger your insecurity and that make you that lower your self-confidence, because self-confidence is something that you have to keep working on consciously every day, because as humans we have this negativity bias. So we have to counteract it consciously and make sure that our brain does not resort to this default mode of always noticing the negative things. We have to make sure our brain retrains itself to notice the positive things in ourselves, and so that we do not become hypercritical of ourselves when we really don't need to be. So I hope you have found this video useful. Go download the workbook, work through. There's so many tools and exercises you'll find really useful, and I hope to see you in the next video.